Hello, and welcome to ODU's second broadcast of the season. We have our League of Legends Silver team, our B team, our JV team, whatever you want to call it, heading off against George Washington Team C today in NACE. It's different from our Saturday tournament. That is Collegiate League. This is a little bit different. So this is only for JV teams. So before we start, we're going to talk about our players, introduce you to our JV players for this semester. So first off in the top lane, we have Jahi Voidwings. He is a BS in Game Studies and Design. His favorite champion is Malzahar. Now, I know Jahi for this year because I'm still new to this school. So I know he loves Malzahar. His name is Voidwings, after all, so he's a big Malzahar player. So it was a surprise when I saw him play, deciding to play top lane because that's not his native role. He's used to the mid lane. So he's playing top lane. He plays a mid lane champion and he hates other mid lane champions. But he's playing top. I'm not really sure what to make of it. So I'm really excited to see him playing top lane this semester. It's something which we haven't seen yet in competitive for Jahi. He's been in the program for a long time. So he's a veteran. He knows ODU. He knows how the game works.
Well, and we see in even higher levels of competitive play, the top and mid lane switch is definitely one that we've seen a couple of players do, outside of, the collegiate level as well. I mean, if you have good fundamental play, there's a lot of, laning things that cross over pretty easily for the most part. It's the main thing is just nailing down your matchup. So it's just possible that when the team sort of, formed together, they had a mid laner that just outperformed or was just the better option, better fit for that role. And so he was like, no problem. I'll do what the team, where the team needs me.
Yeah.
So he just slotted right into that top lane. So most likely will not be seeing him play any Malzahar tonight, unfortunately, but I'm sure he'll do great in whatever he decides to play in the top lane.
Next up is our jungle, Dominic. Very easy there. He is getting a BS in computer science, and he loves Zach as his favorite jungle. Dom is a very different player when it comes to jungle because he plays a lot of these tank, a lot of these engaged jungles, a lot of these very standard Zach, Jarvins, and Zhao, but he likes to farm a lot. And he goes a lot for these invades. So it's a very abstract way of playing the game, and it's very hard for other teams to really understand what's happening. So he uses that element of surprise, element of confusion to really get the other team off their guard.
Yeah, well, and I think that's really a interesting, take for the game, especially as a jungler, right? If you're picking these champs that traditionally are not those very aggressive early game invade kind of junglers, you can definitely catch your opponents off guard. They might be expecting a more passive, full clear style, very not going for early ganks, not going for invades, things like that, just because fighting power early might be a little bit weaker. But if he can throw them off, I mean, that definitely finding early advantages in the jungle can snowball games very quickly. So I'll be interested to see him play. This, of course, is my first cast for the JV team or for League of Legends as a whole. So I'll be excited to see how he likes to play.
Yeah. Next up in the mid lane is Magnus Murder. Very interesting name, and well, it happens to him a lot. He gets murdered a lot. He dies a lot. He's definitely the player I'm looking at for ODU this match. He is really the heart and soul of this team. He's a high energy player. He loves to make plays. We're going to see a lot of solo deaths by him. Really expecting it, probably over under about 2. Maybe a solo kill if we get really lucky. He'll solo kill his opponent. But it's really fun to see this guy play because he goes for all these LCS highlight reel plays you'll see on YouTube, but it's when they go wrong. It's the failures of what you see on YouTube. So I'm really excited to see him play. He's getting a BS in computer science, and he loves Yone. Doesn't like Nami, which is a little bit odd. Nami as a least favorite champion, a little bit interesting, especially as a mid laner. So.
Yeah, not your traditional, there's a lot of people that hate Yasuo or Yumi or something along those lines, but Nami's definitely an interesting one, especially since even with the Moonstone buffs a few patches ago, we did see her return a little bit with the Nami Lucian bot lane for a while, but it's even that's died back down a little bit. So not a champ that you see a whole ton of. Maybe just really annoying in his solo queue, in that ladder.
Could be.
But hey, each to their own. No judgment here.
Yeah. And then next up we have Caden's Chaos. I'm not too familiar with this player. He does really love to play Jinx, and I'm hoping to see what he brings to the table. I've honestly never seen him play. I've heard about him. He's one of the older players. I think he's coming back from a break.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to see him play. First time I've ever seen him or really heard of him, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and while we're on the topic of Jinx, right? I mean, definitely something that we could see take early priority in these drafts. I mean, we've
Most
seen
definitely.
her. I mean, we've seen how good she's been lately in LCS and other regions. Very strong champion right now, especially with just how the meta is built around her. You know, these more slower scaling mid laners as well. You know, we're not seeing as many assassins or aggressive. Yeah. Even with the changes to teleport, you know, going to just a regular to unleashed at 14, which makes, you know, less opportunities for plays in the bot lane unless you're playing something like TF, like Rise, like Galio, when some those high mobility mid laners. Even with those changes, I mean, we've seen a lot more passive play, and I expect to see more of that in terms of, you know, early on in the games. I mean, we'll have to see. It'll really be up to the junglers to make stuff happen, I think, early on.
Yeah, and then our final, and hopefully not least, but maybe it is for this game, is Tristan Dreamstan.
Oh boy.
He is the support for this team, although he was playing jungle last semester. So another role swap, but he is known for playing both jungle and support. So he's had jungle and support accounts around about high platinum. He's been in the program a while. He's played League at ODU for, I think, 2 years now. So about the time all of our players have been playing, since it's really been established here at ODU. And his favorite champion is Tolia, which reflects he still plays jungle. He's still jungle, but he plays support too. It's really useful. I am looking to see how he steps into the shoes of Wook, who was our support last semester, who had some of the amazing Thresh plays last semester. Absolutely amazing Thresh player. Unfortunately, he fell out of eligibility, so we will not see him this semester. Also, Final Fantasy gamer. He's having fun. So we will see Tristan. We saw him last semester. Really happy to see him back playing support.
Sorry, not to interrupt. Something that I think that might be interesting, the fact that he's a avid jungler as well as now a support player for the team. I mean, not quite as traditional like mid and top swaps, but jungle and support actually have a lot more similarities than some people might make out.
Exactly.
And it could actually be extremely beneficial for ODU if we see their support being very active on the map. You know, not too passive, not too much babysitting going on in bot lane. You know, if they can pick a fairly safe carry in the bot lane, they can just farm, chill out, you know, not do anything too crazy. That might free up Dreamstan to make a few plays elsewhere on the map. So I'll be excited to see if they can get that going.
Yeah. So that's our player introductions done. We've done it for both varsity and JV. We will try to do these little segments before most of our broadcasts this season for League. We're just trying this out, seeing how it works. So now we can talk about what we expect to see in draft. My favorite part of the game. I absolutely love draft. When it comes to collegiate and outside of very high elo play, outside of about top 0.005% of the player base, it means it has maybe 5% impact on the game, I would say. Most of the impact of the game is how you play it and not who you're playing. So I'm really looking forward to the draft because although it means almost nothing, I think it's fun.
Well, and just because due to the nature, you know, of these two teams, especially being not primary teams, but, you know, they're going to play what they're comfortable with, right? Yeah. Which means that we might get a little chaotic up in here. We might see some crazy picks.
Yeah, the draft actually has now started, so we will be switching over to that. And already for the side of George Washington, we have a Lilia and a Mordekaiser band. Looking at those AP options, definitely want to take away some of those comfort picks, which ODU was really excelling at, and also forcing Murder to maybe pick an AP champion. Taking away AP jungle on top means that your mid laner could not pick an AP champion. Now we see the Jinx ban taken away from Caden Chaos. This is very expected. Jinx is a very meta-defining champion, and on the side of ODU, ODU is on red side this game, so banning the Corki is a must. Banning Corki and Victor was a bit interesting. It's the two very meta mids right now.
Yeah.
Two highest priority in basically all levels of play. So we see a Jace out from the side of George Washington. We don't see this in order. This is the comps as is. It looks like they drafted in another application. So we have Malphite, Olaf on the side of ODU, a little bit more of a dive composition looking to go, and I'm not a big fan of the Olaf pick personally. It is a bit squishy, and the ultimate isn't always that useful. Removing CC is nice, but getting rid of a lot of these resistances isn't nice. You die so much faster. And with the Trundle on the other side, Trundle ultimate will make this Olaf really paper, and it's so effective against this Malphite. Anivia also coming out from the side of George Washington, a little bit off color to the Jace. Anivia really wants people to come into them, and Jace is really good poke champion. Anivia is not the best at that. Orianna coming in as probably before the Anivia, because Anivia does have a very dominant lane against the Orianna, where Anivia just outranges the Orianna, and with Anivia wall, it can force Orianna into very uncomfortable situations. So right now, I'm looking at George Washington to have this draft edge. They have, although it may not be easier, it's a lot better and a little bit more cohesive, where it's they want to walk back as ODU walks in. Caitlyn picked up on the side of ODU. That's most likely a priority pick. We see Caitlyn in almost all levels of professional play as a very consistent ADC. We see it with a lot of mages, so maybe we see a Lux or another mage support. Nautilus can also work, but that will be more set to brawl against the Senna Tahm Kench, which Senna, on this patch, maybe you can talk about these Senna changes, because it is one of your champions.
Yeah, well, and I was actually interested to find out, I was interested to see if Senna would be picked in this. Of course, with her most recent 12.2 changes, she has a passive on her Q, which allows her auto attacks to have a slow, all of her auto attacks, and it scales. Which is crazy good. Before, a lot of Sennas would take Glacial Augment to sort of help, because slowing has always been a crucial part of her play style. It allows her to be a little safer, to kite back, and of course with that passive critical strike chance, range, all of that, she doesn't need to, that's not what she focuses on as much, in terms of what items she builds. So Glacial Augment, now she doesn't have to build that. Of course, with the changes to Glacial Augment, it wouldn't have been super useful on her anyways. So a nice little change, nice little buff to Senna, and I think she's actually really strong right now. Definitely an underrepresented pick in terms of what we've seen at the highest level of play.
Yeah, Senna, in terms of solo queue, her ADC win rate went up about 3%, and her support win rate went up 4%. And just this 20% base slow on the queue made such an impactful change for this champion. And overall, I'm looking at these drafts, and I'm really worried about ODU here. They do have a glaring lack of damage. The only consistent damage they really have is this Caitlyn and maybe the Olaf, but Olaf is just going to have to deal with Trundle, and that is not something he can really do. Now, on the side of George Washington, if they get behind, they will be out of this game. George Washington's team composition has to get somewhat of a gold lead in this early game. Playing from behind with Jace and Nivea Senna is not going to go well for them, because they have two hyperscaling carries with Senna and Jace, and without gold, they will be very useless and just blown up.
Yeah, and something else that I really want to note as well. Obviously, we noted that they're using an external tool to do the draft and then just locking them in an order for the game. So we can only speculate a little bit about the order that things came in. But based on how the bans look, I would imagine that the bot lane actually had fairly early priority, especially that Caitlyn pick, because we have seen her be a very strong pick as of late, on this current patch. And I actually think the Tahm Kench on the side of George Washington is a pretty good response. I mean, there's a lot of all in on the side of ODU. Obviously with the Malphite ult, a very, good combo Malphite ult with the Orianna, ult as well. I mean, Tahm Kench has recently gotten a few changes to help buff his support.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing almost no support Tahm Kench since they did his rework, which was primarily for him to get played more in the top lane. So it'll be interesting to see him as support this game.
Yeah, I'm really looking at what Dominic can do this game, because he's on this Olaf. It's a very weak pick right now. You don't really see it anywhere because he doesn't really offer one strong thing. Olaf doesn't really brawl that well early due to Gore Drinker changes in the middle of last season, where Gore Drinker was really taken down. Olaf just doesn't really have the base stats to be that useful. So it's going to be very important to see what Dom can get done and what Murder can do, because if Murder gets ahead and gets that Luden's Echo and Shadow's Flame and Sorcerer Boots early on, then this Malphite Orianna combo can be so lethal. But going even isn't really going to cut it.
Well, and something else too about the Olaf pick that's definitely a little troubling is that, like you were saying, George Washington's comp, their whole idea is they like to kite back. And Olaf, that's like his worst nightmare. I mean,
Absolutely.
You don't want to burn your ult too early, but of course with the Senna slow, Anivia's just has a whole area of denial that'll slow as well. I mean, it's going to be so hard for Olaf to find entry into these fights.
Yeah, Anivia is actually one of the best anti-Olaf champions in the whole game, just because of
There you
Anivia
go.
W. Just because of that wall. Olaf can get rid of all CC suppressions. He can ignore knockups if he's not already knocked up. Stuns, roots, slows, but he cannot get around terrain. And that's what Anivia and Trundle both have. So it's going to be so hard for Olaf to actually get at this Anivia.
Well, and interestingly too, that makes me even wonder, do you think this player is just really likes Anivia, or do you think this was a specific counter pick for this Olaf? I mean, like you were saying, a very good pick into him. And I mean, it's definitely possible that it was, a bit of a pocket pick for this specific, jungle pick that came out on the side of ODU.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at this being a intentional pick with this Anivia. It's very good into this ODU composition. It does look like we have a bit of a spectator bug where nothing is really happening. We're fully dark right now.
And yeah, we're gonna be right back while we try and work out this spectator issue real quick. Should be a pretty quick fix. We probably just need to reconnect to the game, and we'll be right back. And we're back. I forgot to turn on my mic there for a second. We worked out the technical difficulties very quickly, which is good.
Or a little bit desynced. We're 2 minutes into the game now. Much apologies to that. We had a very weird bug. Spectator has been very finicky recently. So I'm really looking for these junglers to... I'm looking at Dominic to make a lot of impact early. And for the side of GW with Bull Moose, Trundle's a very good counter-ganking jungler. So he's very good at showing up to these ganks as the second party and really getting this cleanup. And to note, this Trundle does have lethal tempo, so he can really fight this Olaf. Early level 2 fight for the side of ODU. Dreamstand walking up and getting the passive root onto the Tahm Kench. Caden's Chaos will follow up with the first blood, and Dreamstand is flashing in, gets the root. Caden's Chaos gets the headshot plus trap combo with the tempo procced, and will get the easy first blood. We do have a fasting Senna on the side of GW, so in the long term, they'll get more gold overall. But for the short term, that Senna is going to be very starved of gold. And that's really good play we've seen from the side of ODU there. Dreamstand really knowing the level advantage, the level 2 versus level 1, and how many minions he needed for that, and how many minions he had in advantage.
Yeah, and that was actually a huge blunder from the side of George Washington's bot lane. I believe with the flash and heal, the Tahm Kench could have made it out alive there, and then the Senna, for some reason, choosing to still fight. She hadn't even ticked level 2 yet, I don't believe. Still trying to fight both of them. So really good awareness from Dream to know that he can just flash in, get that root into trap combo, executed flawlessly from the side of ODU.
Yeah, really good trading out here by the side of Murder. He's using these passive autos really well. He is a level down, so that is pretty concerning that he is going to end up losing that trade just because of the base stats Anivia gets from just the levels. Top lane matchup, this is a really Malphite sided favored matchup, although early it does hurt because in the end Jace is still a ranged champion, so this ranged advantage will be massive until Malphite starts getting these armor items. Starting with the corrupting pot is very standard, but not something which you would like to see. Dominic with the early game top lane lands the first cleaver, will get eat back by the Jace, lands the second. Does not look like there's any follow up due to Malphite being too far away. Jace does get some damage back, which may slow down Dominic's clear, especially since he's chunked to about a quarter HP. But Voidlings with this massive wave can definitely thin and hold. Potentially look for a cheater recall on this Jace. This Jace does have Conqueror too, so it's maybe very exploitable later into the game. If Jahi gets the if Voidlings gets these items, he can definitely look for these solo kills. Conqueror is a very weak summary spell on Jace because he has to get all these ability hits to actually proc it, and before then, it doesn't really give him any survivability compared to Phase Rush or extra gold with First Strike, where for First Strike you can just sit back. Murder looking for a solo kill potentially in the middle lane, but forces the Nivea wall out. That's going to be a big cooldown usage, and if Murder can get some of this mana back, he can definitely look for a kill. But for the time being, he will just look to give the killer Catmans a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, I was very surprised about that exchange in top lane as well, that they decided to commit a whiffed hook there, but it looks like they're going to all in here, and I think Tahm Kench's W should be able to get him out safely with his E shield.
Dreamstone may have a hook up against... That was very interesting by Caden's Chaos. He didn't look for the extra trap on the Tahm Kench. He more looked for the trap anticipating Tahm Kench's movement, but Tahm Kench just W'd instead. So a little bit of a misplayed for the side of Caden, but still so well done by ODU's bot lane. Caden's Chaos now up 15 farm at 5 minutes. This is a massive lead, especially this Tahm Kench is farming, and yeah, they're missing some of these minions on the turret. It's hard to farm sometimes with this Tahm Kench. The rest of the map for ODU is winning, surprisingly. It's looking very dominant from the side of ODU. Dreamstand will find a hook on this Anivia, could be in some danger. Trundle Pillar does go wide, and the Nautilus will get out. Murder will hit 6, gets the shockwave. Bull Moose does flash in the wrong way. Dominic is there for the flash follow and for the kill, and will pick it up. Gets a lead over his jungle component.
Yeah, and so far I love what we're seeing from ODU here. You see no hesitation on these plays that they decide to go for. You know, that shockwave just barely clipping the exit from Trundle, and, you know, no hesitation from that Olaf immediately flashing in. Looks like we got another fight in bot lane, and that headshot from the 90 caliber net going to finish off the Senna, and I believe Tahm Kench is going to be next. Oh, okay, his gray health is just going to keep him alive here.
Yeah, oh so close for the side of PLG Leviathan making it out alive. Voidwing's going in for the Malphite ult. This is where he can definitely look for a kill if this Jace is a little bit too frisky. Malphite so close, just needed that W back up, but was not in range. Will go flash for flash. I'm not a big fan of that, but in the end, it will benefit him more than the Jace. Having the being flash down versus Jace is so much better for the Malphite because of that ultimate. It is a big dash after all. So in terms of safety, Malphite is still so much safer, and he is a tank, which will just make him so much safer. Who would have thunk?
Well, and of course that passive armor he gets as well. That's why he's, you know, known as a very good pick into the Jace. Fortunately, it looks like Dream's going to go down. Caitlyn should be fine, though. They committed most of their cooldowns on the Nautilus because they knew they could guarantee get that kill. Still, we see this trading in the mid lane, and although the Anivia Oh, Jace looking for an all-in maybe? No, choosing not to commit, which I think is probably smart.
Yes. Voidlings will probably back now and look to get this Scramble Vest. This could be a kill here in the middle, and if Murder can land this Shockwave, Dominic was on the correct side of the map to follow up. Dominic is so far ahead in farm now, up 15 farm. These invades, which I talked about during his introduction, we are really seeing them working out now because he has access to Trundle's whole entire top side. Trundle's just helping his middle laner push in the wave now. And Dreamstand finds the hook on the Nivea at near max range, forces the A. Passive will just barely get killed. Trundle will make it out. And the Trundle's only level 5. This Trundle is really far behind. He's been so starved because times like that where he's forced to be middle lane to help his middle laner try to push that wave. We see another fight in top lane, but now that Malphite has this Bramble Vest, this Jace is having such a hard time trade into him.
Yeah, and the other thing I love about this play from Dominic as well is you can see they have a very, strong bot lane right now, constantly pushing, so really no opportunity for the George Washington jungler. Wow, that damage from Caitlyn is just insane. I mean, she is already 4-0, so it's no surprise. But another kill going the side of the Caitlyn, and all in on the side of the top lane. Malphite should be able to cleanly get out after that kill. He was still almost full HP. And Dream with the stopwatch should be fine as well. Wow.
Beautiful dive on both the side lanes for ODU. Dreamstand, knowing that he has stopwatch and knowing that he can just walk up to that Senna and just auto and ult, and that's all he needs because Kaden Chaos has so much damage. You'll have the Mythic plus boots most likely on this back. And that top lane play by Voidlings. Malphite is a absolute stat check champion. If you have enough damage and enough HP, then you can kill him. If not, you'll die. It's very straightforward. And Voidlings, knowing exactly how much damage he needed and how much damage the turret and Jace would do, can just get that soul kill under Jace's turret. So very smart by both side lanes of ODU. In the mid lane, pretty even besides that one kill, which Murder didn't even pick up. Murder has 2 assists. He is fulfilling the stereotype of Orianna. It's the supportive mid laner. It's the supportive mid laner mage. Just because the reason you have Orianna on your team is for that one button. That one big, massive shockwave. But besides that, not a lot of priority coming out. Although this Anivia is a bit weak, that Murder can really push them around with his Lost Chapter and Tier, it's still a bit of a weak pick. I'm not going to lie. We're looking a bit of a collapse for the side of George Washington. Murder may die here. Has a good flash out, but still rooted. Tomken's really chasing down. Gets the ult off on the Orianna. Spits them back into their team. Will take the kill for himself, but Dominic is going deep towards Anivia. Turning back towards the Senna here. And Oliver Chris will die on the side of GW. Flash out of Tom Kench as Caden Chaos arrives with a Kraken Slayer. A lot of damage out from Caden's Chaos. If George Washington fights again, but I don't think they will. The Jace is now, Jace and Malphite, both top winners are now here, potentially looking for a fight, but I think they will return to their lanes. Sun ult comes through, will just miss. I think that was looking for the Nautilus, but will not find them. Leviathan will get away from Dreamstand and Voidwings with just enough HP. Voidwings may have been able to ult that for the kill, but didn't want to use ults just as Dragon is spawning. ODU should have this Dragon on lock. It's 11 minutes, 11:20 with a 5k gold lead. George Washington really just needs to farm. But Trundle on the side of GW will look to walk in, will not be able to get there in time. Amazing Malphite ult for the side of ODU and Voidlings, really stopping Trundle from being able to walk up to this Dragon. Murder just missing the shockwave on the Killer Catman. Will not find another kill. But Killer Catman maybe trading a little bit of abilities with Caden's Chaos. A little bit too step up now. Amazing wall. But Dreamstand cues right into it. Where is he trying to go? Will not get anywhere at the end of it. And now we see a bit of an NA RAM. NA ARAM. NA. Oh, mid.
Well, I think this Orianna is very close to her Mythic, and so she's just trying to get a little bit more gold before she backs and then probably rotates to one of these side lanes.
That was so tragic for the side of Caden.
Yeah, very close.
That was
a kill.
40 damage off, maybe. Killer Catman is waiting here. Has the passive back up. Not sure what they're going to do. I don't think walking up to the wave when Caitlyn has ultimate will be the best idea, but maybe they can actually survive it. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, very interesting. We will now see ODU looking to get some more topside vision. Definitely looking for this Rift Herald, which will be up in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Before this Dragon, which is about a minute and 30 displaced from the Rift Herald. So Rift Herald's coming up first. And to really push the advantage, they need these neutral objectives. ODU is looking at about a 21-minute soul.
Well, and speaking of the Rift Herald, Olaf's trinket, I believe, he just gets it down. It was about to expire. This is, of course, the first Rift Herald.
Yep.
It looks like it's going to be dropped in the top lane. Will not destroy this turret, but we'll still get some good turret plate gold here.
Yeah, so very importantly that this Rift Herald is dropped pre-14 minutes, because that turret plating, which drops at 14, gives so much more gold, especially since it's no longer first turret. These outer turrets only give about 250, so it's heavily reduced for these outer turrets, especially before 14 minutes. Now see 3 members all in the top lane for the side of ODU, trying to get this top control. Cadence Chaos looking for a flash to the side, will pop the Nivea passive, and we'll get the kill. Really good play by Cadence Chaos. Exhaust coming down on the Murder. Tom Kench looking up Murder, will eat them. Murder can maybe look for the trade kill on the Senna, but does not have enough damage, and Oliver, Chris, and PLG Leviathan will find the kill on Murder. Just really unfortunate that Murder has absolutely no items and is running a garage sale.
Well, I think it's just unfortunate. It's hard to walk up in that lane. I mean, he probably didn't need to. I believe the lane's pushing to him anyways, but...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but... I feel like a lot of players forget that Tom Kench could use his ults aggressively to eat enemy players and drag them back towards his teammates, even though Senna was not right on top of them. Doesn't matter. Eats him up, spits him out. Delivery service for that Senna. So...
A lot of players who played against the old Senna Tom Kench are not used to this new Senna Tom Kench. Yeah. Because old Senna Tom Kench was very much, hey, we're going to protect Senna the best we can because she's going to farm really well. This new Senna Tom Kench is, let's kill the enemy laner. Because Tom Kench is so much better at fighting 2v2 with his new W. That's the biggest change we've seen, is that this new dive-in W for the side of Tom Kench makes him so much more aggressive, and people underestimate that a lot of times, especially with the Senna slow on top of the Tom Kench dive, which just came in this patch. So we do have Rift Herald up in 3 seconds. Olaf is clearing his Krugs. Cadence Chaos on the Caitlyn will probably take the red buff, and then ODU will set up a trap line and vision line. Cadence Chaos is already working towards this LDR. Love it. Collector's not good. Go Lord Dominic's Regard, please. Second item, ADCs. Please, please. In my ranked games, I don't want to see any more Collector. Please go Lord Dominic's Regards. It's amazing. Going second item here. And they're starting Rift Herald. There should be no contest here. Maybe they get bot turret on the side of GW. Murder could definitely give that up. If they send a third member bot lane, they do have that Trundle down there. But ODU should definitely look at mid turret here. It's a post 14 minutes Rift Herald. You want to look at mid turret, because compared to all the other outer turrets, mid will give you the most control over the map, because they can't hold that mid wave towards the center of the map anymore, because it will bounce out against ODU to south.
We see an all-in on the top lane right now. Malphite ulting in. Dream's just going to get in range of his of the Nautilus, the ultimate, and that will finish off the Jace in the top lane.
Murder will get dove here. This is the power of the Tom Kench. Flash Shockwaves. I don't think we'll get a kill because of where he Shockwave, but it was a very close try. Maybe if he didn't flash and just Shockwave in place, pulled them towards the center turret, maybe he can survive, but most likely not surviving at all. That's a sacrifice play we see on the side of Murder. He will die for his team to extend the lead, and already 0-3 for the side of Murder. 75% of his team's deaths. Like I said, very expected to see out of him. So, fitting expectations. Good stride breaker out from the side of Dominic. Flashes onto the Nivea, but Nivea will match flash over the wall. Dominic getting this kill into the Jace, has enough damage. A little bit of help from the Malphite, and ODU just sieging mid turret here. Not a lot GW can do. They have really no engage without this Tom Kench there. And it just looks like ODU is going to walk towards this dragon and get this dragon. We'll be on track for 23-minute soul now, which is massive, especially with a soul so impactful like Ocean Trick. That built-in healing is so useful. Dominic is behind the blade, though. Well, we do see a bit of a collapse for the side of Dominic. He has no ultimate, so he will just get terrained and boxed in. But it doesn't matter. ODU has the dragon already.
Extremely close, though. And I was going to say before that Olaf got caught out that it's important to know this Trundle is extremely behind in terms of his items. I mean,
So
not even a full complete item yet, which means he's not very tanky right now. So that means your only real front line is this Tom Kench, and with him out of the equation for that middle turret defense, you saw the Jace, who had no business just going in right there, get cut down very quickly. Just impossible for any of these George Washington players to walk forward on this path of destruction for ODU.
Yeah. Yeah, for top lane, Jace doesn't even have his tier 2 boots. He can't really walk up. He's got the Conqueror and the Eclipse, which are decent if you want to brawl in the front line for Jace, but he's just so weak right now. Malphite just finished his mythic. All mythics completed for the side of ODU. Only 4 mythics on the side of GW. Senna does not have her mythic. This is what happens when you're behind with this fasting Senna. Your gold will take so much longer, but you get enough souls that your stat is worth it. Good hook by the side of Dreamstand. Not too much follow-up. He will need to wait a little bit. Uses the flash out, even though he does have teammates coming. And if that Caitlyn rotates over, this will just be a one fight for the side of ODU. Malphite looking for a potential ultimate, but we'll just hold it. ODU may be a little bit shy on the gun here. Caden's Chaos is very strong with his LDR and extra Cloak of Agility, so 55% crit chance, very high. Good hook by the side of Dreamstand, canceling the W by Tom Kench, but the Senna ult and the Tom Kench flash will get them out to safety. ODU, good play, trading 1 flash for 2, always worth it. And really heads up by ODU to not really go that aggressively in the top jungle. They were able to find a play in the mid lane. Now Murder pushing out this bot lane will find the Senna Tom Kench again, and will hopefully not die, but probably will. Crown of the Shattered Queen now broken from the side of the Nivea. Trundle will get just chain CC'd to death. Nivea getting hooked, has no flash, has the passive up, will most likely die. On the side of the fight, Caden's Chaos will solo kill the Jace, gets the QKS kill secure for the side of Caden's Chaos. Always nice to see those secures coming out from the ADCs. And ODU will just get turrets after turrets. Really good fight, really good Malphite ult from the side of Voidwings. This champion is really hard to pilot, and I'm very happy to see a champion really figure out, a player really figure out this tough champion.
Well, I think it makes sense too, just to give Caitlyn as many resources as you can. I mean, the Olaf and the Malphite are both already so accelerated, and they're not really, their purpose on this team is to be that engaged, to be that front line for their carry. So don't need quite as many resources for these tank items as you do for some of these carry items. And something I was actually going to ask you is, what do you think about this Caitlyn build? I mean, so far ahead, opting for the Kraken Slayer and the LDR, and took Lethal Tempo as a rune. I mean, that's some heavy indexing into smashing lane and just, oh my goodness. I mean, no defensive options right now, but I mean, she's going to deal a bucket load of damage.
I will say this first game I've ever seen Caden's Chaos play will set his ego. Going Kraken Slayer in this game as Caitlyn is maybe the most ego play you could do, and I love it. Starting up Baron now for the side of ODU. Trundle's on the bot side, and so is Jace. Caden's Chaos does get hit with a Nivea Q and is half HP, but will heal a bit off of the Baron if they can get out of this melee range. Maybe we'll E over the wall, but will not. Just staying in the backup pit away from the Nivea. Does take a little bit more damage, but it's an early Baron. Doesn't do a lot of damage. First Baron too. Dreamstand looking for a kill on this Nivea. Good Malphite ult from the side of Voidwings. Really hard to hit that ability. Really happy he could actually hit it this time. Dominic looking for a run down the Olaf. Pops the Ragnarok, and the Stridebreaker will not get anything. Senate W will root him just as he runs out of his ultimate, and ODU is just going to siege this mid lane. This is looking really good from ODU besides the extra Giants build on the side of Voidwings. Really hope that's not a Thornmail. That's a Thornmail. Very disappointed to see from the side of Voidwings. Wow. If I'm anything, I'm a stickler for builds. This is a really good siege comp out from the side of ODU. This Orianna ball threatening Shockwave and just Caitlyn inherit attack range is going to be really good. But the Senna Qs, the range on Senna Q and W is so good at this anti-siege because she can Q her own minions for this extra range and poke out ODU's backline.
Yeah.
So you will get dissuade, but this dragon is spawning in 18 seconds. 18 seconds for the Soul. Early Soul, and they just got Baron, so Baron and Soul will overlap. Dominic may be caught out here, has no ultimate. Maybe this is engaged. Massive Shockwave inside of the wall for the side of Murder. Jace is on the backside of the fight looking for the kill on the Olaf. Will not find it. Olaf survives with just a sliver of HP. And Caden's guys will pick up the kill on the Jace. Dreamstand was going a little bit crazy in the backline, but will make it out alive. GW will look to maybe coin flip a contest here. The Nautilus is a little bit picked out. Dreamstand is not dying quite yet, but then Nivea flashing into the back of the pit and passive being used will die. Void Wings selflessly giving the kill to his Caitlyn and letting the ultimate take it. LG with fire then eating up the Malphite, spitting them back out. Ooh, that rock tastes disgusting.
And that's Ocean Soul for ODU. I mean, that is going to be obviously not the Mountain Soul, no pun intended, but a big mountain to climb for the side of George Washington with this passive healing now, especially with this front line from, from ODU. I mean, you got Malphite, you got Olaf, you got Nautilus. It's going to be extremely hard to cut through these tanks with how much passive healing the Ocean Soul provides. And, I mean, you don't even really need Bloodthirster anymore when you got Ocean Soul.
Yeah. We most likely will see a Bloodthirster or a Phantom Dancer or... I mean, I'm not quite sure what Cadence Chaos will build. I personally would probably go the Bloodthirster because I'm a big fan of Raw AD. I think Raw AD always feels good on a champ like Caitlyn where they're not really stacking attack speed for the most part. But for the rest of ODU builds look good besides Dominic has a Black Cleaver. I'm not sure why he would ever build that there instead of Sterix Gauge. That's a bit of a head scratcher. Murder is building an Archangel Staff because he needs ability haste to cycle his Orianna cooldowns. A little bit questionable on that one. Orianna not really known to be a cooldown cycler. Mostly she's just a one-shot. She uses all of her buttons at one time and then she really doesn't do much else. Voidwings may be a little bit caught here, but maybe his team can come to collapse. Oh, he is taking no damage. He is playing Malphite. He will have to ult away, unfortunately. But that's such a low cooldown at this point in the game since he has so much ability haste because he decided to build correct items. Oh, wait, he's got a Thornveil. Cadence Chaos will be forced out with the flash. GW is collecting a lot of cooldowns right now. Just ODU is not positioning well. They will trade the spot turret as Voidwing is tanky it and doing no damage while also taking no damage. That is a beautiful image to see. I love to see the Malphite 1v1ing the turret. Wow. Welcome to League of Legends in Season 12, everybody. ODU is just ransacking GW's jungle. There's not much GW can really do outside of a miracle play at this. They're so far behind in gold.
You can see them. You can see them kind of posturing, looking for the Malphite, but the Malphite playing very respectful here, and ODU's going to push forward, baiting out the Senna ult.
Oh, we do very importantly see on the side of Dominic a needlessly large rod.
Dream forced a flash there.
Yeah.
Caught on the wrong side of the wall.
ODU just losing a lot of flashes here for nothing. Pretty concerning. Their play is definitely a bit sloppy. They are just ahead by such a large margin, it doesn't really matter. But ODU just needs to finish this game. They have no reason to really be stalling it out at this point. They can just walk down one lane with a significant wave and just take another inhib. This mid inhibitor turret is such low HP, and with the positioning from GW is not in a position to really contest. Yeah. Although we see 4 ODU members walk into the jungle for seemingly no reason. Dreamstand does get caught by the Nivea wall, but will try to Q in, gets a big Nautilus ult, followed up by the Malphite ult, and then a 3-mana Orianna shockwave. Massive by the side on ODU. A little bit delay on the side of Voidwings to flash over that wall, and Dominic looks for the solo kill on the support. Always love seeing the jungle support 1v1. Dominic will get the kill. A Nivea passive is popped, and ODU should close out the game with this last push. Ace for the side of ODU, and wow. Cadence Chaos really showing up this first game.
12-0-8, and honestly, I cannot underestimate the reach of this Malphite Orianna, combo. I was a little bit worried there that Dream was feeling a little pressured after getting caught out by that Nivea wall, that he had to engage with no team close enough to follow up, but I was wrong. You see that Malphite, no hesitation, just ultimate right over the wall, finding a great 3-man knockup into the Orianna shockwave. Really impressive stuff out of the side of ODU. Yeah, I mean, Cadence Chaos.
Yeah, amazing by Cadence Chaos. The following up with that Malphite ult just means that you're trusting your teammates so much to get a good engage. Because sometimes that's blind. Sometimes you know exactly what's happening, but sometimes you don't. And looking at this post-game gold, we don't even pull it up, but Cadence Chaos was almost double the next highest on the side of GW. The only person who was not doubled in gold was the Nivea. It was the only person. Cadence Chaos had a massive game that game, and I'm really excited to see a defined carry set out for ODU. I was expecting Murder to be that person, but Murder's performance was definitely lacking, but something we expected. He is a bit of this feeder, as some would say, but he does have these pop-off performances. Murder is that one person who will go and drop a 20 bomb of deaths. But he is a very fun player to watch when he's on this Yone and Yasuo and these a lot more aggressive AD melee picks or even assassin picks. That's what he strives at. I really hope we jump into the second game very quickly. We're already in lobby, but we will be back very shortly with more coverage. And welcome back to Game 2 of our JV NACE match. We now have the Pro Draft going. We were now able to capture this game, so we can see the priority. ODU with an early Jin ban. We have the same sides for both teams. ODU's on the red side, GWU is on the blue side. So we could see very similar drafts. I hope GWU picks up this Jinx ban, because it really... this Caitlyn ban and the Jinx ban. Is it's going to be a big problem if they don't. GW out with his early Lilia ban, really targeting Dominic there. It is his most played this season, although he does prefer Zac over them. So maybe we'll see Zac this game, but early Lilia ban, maybe a little bit of draft adaptation for the side of GWU. Maybe something more easier to play than the Jace and the Nivea. But we'll see. Mordekaiser ban, okay, so same first two bans for the side of GWU, keeping it very standard. They really don't want to see those champions out. I'm not too sure about Voidling's Mordekaiser, not really known for him to play it, but I've heard through the grapevine that in practice, it was really destructive.
Well, and I have seen a bit of Mordekaiser in the jungle, especially with the buffs to, don't keep in mind, this is, a little bit lower of an elo of a game, especially with the buffs to Rylai's.
Yeah.
Only 2,600 gold now, a very good item on Mordekaiser, but yeah, most likely that's for the top lane. And it looks like Nautilus ban is going to be the adaptation from the side of George Washington.
Yeah, Corki ban outside of for ODU. I don't think they should ban Victor because I think potentially looking at an Echo counter pick into Victor would be nice, but it does look like they just want to take off those two priority mids. They're the two best middle laners in the game. They just have so much damage, although Corki is probably the strongest in my view, but it's up for debate. GWU now going to their first pick. I'm looking for an ADC priority pick. I don't think the Senna will favor them because they pulled out the strongest Senna lane they could. Only thing debatably as strong is Senna Cho'Gath, but that's much harder to play than Senna Tahm Kench. So I'm hoping this is a Caitlyn or a Jinx pick. If not, it's got to be something comfort. We should see it. Okay, Orianna. Wow. Very confused.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a true priority. I think ODU can actually just look for a Jinx Thresh lane, a Caitlyn Thresh, and just really get the strongest bot lane possible. Because Thresh, when it comes to supports, is the support. He is the number one, as numero uno, support. Because that Lantern and that Flay are so useful still. They keep trying to nerf Thresh Lantern, but it's the only ability which works like that. And Murder is picking Katarina. Murder on these assassins. The Feast or Famine god on assassins. The Feast or Famine champions. We love to see it. We'll definitely see how he performs this game. And I'm excited now. I'm really excited to see Murder on the Katarina.
Well, and what I'm thinking from just based on the last game's draft as well is they must have some sort of info that the George Washington mid player is a control mage player. Because otherwise, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to be using two bans in that first round to get rid of Corki and Victor when you're just going to pick Orianna. But just like you were saying, Thresh locked in. I do really like this pickup on the side of ODU.
Thresh Lantern allows you to play so dangerously because it is such a strong ability that it is just... Whoop, it's almost a teleport. It's just a medium-range teleport. Zinzao on the side of GW, very standard, very good combination with Orianna. It's a consistent ball deliverer. Can be flayed out of the dash, though. So not consistent this game unless they're flashing in, which is only every 5 minutes. So not the best pick when it comes to synergy, but as our power pick, it's very safe. Hopefully ODU will answer with a Trundle pick because that is the very standard answer. Or maybe Diana, but that would be weird because they would be double AP mid-jungle. Not something we like to see. Lulu on the side of GW. I'm not sure about this direction of GW's comp. They have now picked Lulu, so ODU will look to ban out hyper carry ADCs. They probably will pick Jinx here and then ban Vayne Kog'Maw, which is what I would expect. And then Lulu is stuck with like an Ashe or maybe a Tristana, something very weird.
I think
this was a bit strange if they picked jungle here for the side of ODU. Gragas, that is a flex. We've seen coming to prevalency this tank Gragas top lane with this turbo chem tank, which has been oh so powerful because turbo chem tank, now it's just movement speed. It just makes you move faster. With a slow on the next auto, and dashing increases your movement stack. So Gragas can stack it faster with his body swim, which is already gap close.
Yeah.
So
And
Gragas is very good engage.
with him moving up to the top lane, as we've been seeing recently, also E, body slam, typically the first skill that you max as well in the top lane, as opposed to when you're jungling, the order might be a little bit different.
And with this Mundo ban out from ODU, this is telling GWU that this Gragas is in the top lane. It's not a jungle Gragas, it's a top lane Gragas. They have counterpick for top lane anyway, so they are just banning out what is bad for Gragas top. So ODU is still going to pick a jungler. I really hope that's just going to be a tank Gragas in top lane. I really hope that Voidwings doesn't go AP, because this is a AP Gragas, not the best. It's hard to stack AP. Malphite and Mundo banned out. I'm not sure why. Gragas does have a good time into those two champions. Jinx banned out for the side of GW. They will not have the first pick coming out of this, so they're just going to try to take away Caden's champions. Hopefully this is a Caitlyn ban. If not, it's going to be something which Caden plays on his in solo queue, which we cannot see.
I think for the in terms of the thought process behind the Malphite ban, wow, is that really a Vayne? It's being hovered, not locked yet. Okay. I think I like the Caitlyn better. I was going to say, I think the thought process behind the Malphite ban is just they don't want them to play a similar comp to how they executed in the previous game with the Malphite Orianna combo, because I can't imagine that the lane is too bad for Gragas into Malphite. But we'll have to see. Samira would be very interesting.
Samira would make sense with how this composition
I
wants
would
to
really
play.
like to see Aphelios, but I don't think we're going to see it.
I think that
not Lucian.
I think Aphelios could be. Oh my.
Oh man, that is not
what you want to see.
Not what you want to see.
Not what you want to see. Yeah. There's a lot of picks open up for GW. Vayne would be the one I'm looking at. I would definitely be looking at Vayne. Has a tough time against Lucian early, but that scaling on Vayne. Vayne is a top 80 carry when it comes to solo queue because of how much damage she offers and because of shield bow still gives a shield.
Yeah.
Who knows? Still really strong.
Well,
so looking at Vayne here definitely for a pickup for GW.
Well, and I think GW, again, following a very similar kind of line of thought from their first draft, even though the champs are a bit different, they do have a fairly, kite back comp, again. And honestly, a pick in the bot lane that I'd like to see that I think is underrepresented right now is Ezreal. I mean, I think Ezreal might actually... I mean, Orianna does not have the greatest poke. That's the only thing.
No, not at all.
So...
GW does need to pick a significant damage carry.
That's true. They will be pretty low on
GW is
damage.
also going in. This is not really kite back. Nari, when it comes to kite back, is... Wait.
Oh, okay. Ashe.
So we have a interesting comp from the side of GW, where Ashe can be used for rundown, but best when backing up. And it's usually best when paired with a high damage middle laner. And ODU should be a jungler, unless this is Gragas jungle, which they ban top laners. ODU draft is very disorganized.
I think both drafts are, to be honest.
Yes, this is mid-level collegiate play. This is to be expected. We have a very ego draft out of the side of ODU. We have an R1 Katarina, but also on the side of GW, we have a Naren. So, a big surprises out from both sides. Yorick is really fun to watch for casters. Really hope we can see a double maiden bug so we can restart the game. That's happened too many times. Because that bug still exists. Thank you, Riot. At least they removed Chemtech Dragon.
Hey, they did remove Chemtech Dragon.
We have that. ODU bot lane is absolutely massive this game. Thresh Lucian could run up this game so fast. They could be so lethal. And I'm really looking at Caden's Chaos and Dream's Hand to do a big number on GW, just like they did last game. They could definitely carry this one. So, looking at Caden's Chaos, again, Lucian is such an ego pick when it comes to ADCs, but ego isn't bad. Ego means confidence.
The only thing that I'm not a huge fan about this Lucian pick in the bot lane is I really think the pairing... Again, I'm a big fan of Thresh. He's one of my favorite supports to watch and to play with.
One of my favorite champs to play with.
But with the mini rework to Lucian a little while back, he honestly is best with Enchanter supports in that bot lane. And Lucian likes to play aggressive early, especially if he's going to be going into an Ashe who's notorious for being extremely weak early on. I think they might actually struggle in this lane a little bit. I don't really like the 2v2 too much, and although we did see a bit of a weak game out of the George Washington bot lane from their first game, Lulu Ashe can be extremely annoying to lane against, especially with Thresh being a melee support. He does, have a little bit of trading power with those flay stacks, but I'm not really sure. I mean, I think it will just come down to individual prowess, like how good and how comfortable these players are on their respective champions that they picked, and not so much about the lane matchup. But I would definitely, not players aside, I would give the bot lane favor. I would favor George Washington's bot lane in this game.
Ashe is definitely a known counter, not to the Lucian necessarily, although it is really good against Lucian. As soon as you get level 9 on Ashe, it's hard for Lucian to approach because of that W cooldown on Ashe. That's her bread and butter, is that W. She uses it so much, and it has such a high slope. Maybe she could be going the poke build, the Muramata Dustweight of Dragfar, but that would really be leaving out a lot of these tank killing damage, which we will see with this Yorick, because the jungle Gragas is most likely AP Gragas, which means Gragas won't be doing a lot, because AP Gragas needs a lot of gold because he buys utility items. He's going Proto Belt, he's going Cosmic Drive, he's going Zonias, and then he can get Death Cap. It's hard for him to stack AP unless he's got a Dark Seal. And anyway, he is an assassin jungle. He has to use all of his cooldowns, and he's a low damage. He's really more useful as this tank role because of his passive, and his W gives a % of damage reduction, of incoming damage reduction, which is massive for any champion. Taking 18% reduced damage taken, so impactful. That's basically a fifth of your damage you're taking just doesn't exist. So I'm a little bit weirded out by that for the side of ODU, but besides that, the Katarina makes sense for the matchup. Katarina to Orianna is an amazing matchup. If you have Shunpo, the Katarina E up against Orianna at level 6, the Orianna will die because, well, she dashes in, she ults, and she can dash out of the Shockwave too, which will be very important to see if Murder can do it. This is a mechanical skill lane, but Bullmoose can do so much this game. Bullmoose can go mid, he can go bot. Top is mostly a farm lane where Gnar has advantage early, but Gnar will quickly get outscaled by this Yorick. As soon as Yorick gets Divine Sunder and Plated Steel Caps in level 11, where these ghouls are like 400 HP, doing 50 AD, and really wailing on the Gnar, it's going to be really difficult. But being able to manipulate terrain in the fights and fighting in a choke point you want for the side of GW can be everything. Because that is all Gnar needs to win a team fight. And with Gnar Orianna, a 4-man Gnar will almost always lead into a 4-man Orianna Shockwave.
Yeah, which is just a one-team fight.
Yeah.
And I would like to go back to this Gragas pick a little bit, because I know we were talking about in the draft that they did ban out 2 top laners immediately, almost in that second ban phase, which leads us to believe that this Gragas was always intended to go to the jungle. But I do actually think when they first picked it that it was still a flex pick. Yeah, I mean, they did ban away a few top laners, but they did leave the counter pick, their last pick, for their top laner. And I think that maybe they just decided that they really liked, they were like, okay, their player, probably the ODU player, top laner, said, hey, like, I really like your work into Gnar. I think I can, bully him in lane. And I mean, maybe that's when the call was made, kind of thing. But I actually think with this rework of the Chem Tank, that Gragas actually might not be too bad in the jungle. I mean, it's definitely, tank items are a lot lower econ, right? And you don't get as many resources on the jungle. I mean, Chem Tank's fairly cheap item.
It's the problem with Chem Tank in the jungle of Gragas. It takes him so much longer to kill his camps that he can't really go. Maybe you can see a Frostfire Gauntlet, but remember, Turbo Chem Tank doesn't have the Immolate passive. It does not have that burn.
But it does have the stacks on the auto.
It is 200% damage against monsters, but that's only about 200 damage.
Right.
It's already 100 damage, and you mostly have the 40% slow, which is why it's so great. And I'm a big fan of Tank Gragas. I'm a top laner. I'll go into my solo queue games and pick Tank Gragas all day, night long, as long as I have a duo.
It's a very safe pick.
It's so much fun. I go WMAX, try it. But I'm really surprised, because typically when you pick this flex pick and ban 2 top laners, if it's a top jungle flex or top mid flex and you ban 2 top laners, it usually means it's going top. Or it usually means it's going top and they want to knock out bad matchups. Because if because if it is intended for jungle, you don't need a ban because your top lane is R5. Your top lane is the last pick in the draft.
See, I was thinking along the other line of thought that because they had confirmed it in the jungle, that's why they weren't banning out. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense, because
you typically don't.
Right? Yeah.
Unless you're.
Well, they had Jinzhao. They had Jinzhao first round though, so they wouldn't have banned out jungles anyways.
Yeah, right? but you still had
bot lane that they could have
bot lane
thrown
to
some
ban.
bans towards.
Yeah.
Maybe they were worried that the bot lane would get too pinched because George Washington was also banning bot laners, but
Yeah.
I'll have to see where it looks like we're loading into game.
Yeah, Mundo and Malphite are pretty general bans. I would have
Hmm.
liked to see Ornn instead of Mundo if they were just going to ban general top laners.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just a scouting. We were not here to scout. This is a very targeted draft when it comes to this elo. This is middle elo. This is from silver to about platinum, high platinum. We have players in this lobby, so it's very much what they play in solo queue is what we're going to see. We're not going to see a lot of meta bans or a lot of meta picks outside of the core key and the ADCs, because that's the only small pool of available champions. ADC is the smallest amount of champions available. So, and we are now in game, so we'll be switching over, and I don't see anything out of it. Never mind. Murder has a long sword with no potion. Oh, he's still in base, so that could change. Okay, there we go. We see a refillable potion. Very happy to see that.
Wow.
Spent gold is always gold.
That's
Because if you don't spend gold, then you don't have the gold.
I'm a little surprised by that, though, to be honest. I mean, longsword refillable is very greedy for this early lane. I mean, Orianna,
there's a good amount of damage for Katarina's
she
AD
does have
scalings.
pretty early. Yeah,
she is a mixed damage assassin, but she does favor this AP build most times. Early pink put down by the side of the Xin Zhao, only opting for one red potion. It's a pretty normal. We'll keep that pink, so we'll see if the Gragas crosses over into that top side. I'm personally not a big fan of it. Unless you're really expecting an invade early. But besides that, there's nothing really out of the ordinary. Everything's pretty standard from all champions. Another area, Orianna going for this very consistent poke as opposed to Comet, which can be inconsistent and also increases your own shield size if that ever happens. Both jungles starting opposite sides, both starting on their blue buffs. Pathing opposite ways. Gragas really needs this early blue. Xin Zhao, not as much. Xin Zhao really just wants to impact the spot lane. This Ashe Lulu, which can be very hard to play against because it's very hard to approach if they're ahead. So early trading, just a little bit of poke in the mid lane. Orianna has this early poke pre-level 3. Level 3, Katarina has a little bit more room to grow, especially because of this Ignite versus Flash. So a lot more kill pressure for the side of Katarina, but has to play a bit safer. Good play by the side of Dreamstand. Kaden getting damage, about half HP on the Lulu. Does also have many advantage, so we'll get level 2 first. Maybe can look for a dash in. Murder dashing in a level 2. We'll get a small trade.
Hook's gonna land.
Good hook by the side of Dreamstand. Kaden will get the kill with the dash.
Yeah, definitely a misplay on the side of George Washington. I mean, no reason to be up that far with the wave pushing into them. Pretty big blunder, and we might see a pretty similar game in bot lane as we did.
Yeah, George Washington making the same mistake they had last game, not respecting the level 2 by ODU. Now we see Meganar from the side of GW on Vicious Teddy Bear, but will not be able to get anything done with it. This top lane is scale fest. Gnar will have some kill pressure about halfway to Mythic, but after that it's going to be a bit tougher. Murder trying to work out this really big wave. He does have Conqueror, and he's just getting these Conqueror stacks now. If he can keep fighting Orianna, maybe it's a good fight, but so many casters are still alive. Most likely he cannot get anything done, and he's down a lot of farm against this crashing wave. Orianna will have some time to roam. Potentially she could cheat or recall here, but will not opt to. She did shove 3 and do nothing. So it's a little bit expected, but unfortunate to see. Murder going in for another trade, picks up the dagger, gets the Shumpo reset, but just a bad trade. Orianna chugging those corrupting pots, and Orianna auto attacks with that burn over time is so lethal. That is her best way of fighting this early lane. You have to be worried about how much damage Orianna autos do.
Well, and this is why I mentioned why the longsword refillable is extremely greedy. You know, I would have even liked to see longsword 3 regular pots, just because it gives you a little bit more of that early sustain, which is where, like we were saying, pre-level 3, Katarina is definitely going to lose those trades, and Orianna with that empowered auto attack can just bully her in that lane. So hopefully he can sustain and at least pick up this farm, just try and stay alive, get this farm. Another good play
This may be a kill out for the side of ODU. Exhaust does come down, and the size of menu will deter ODU, but it looks like a lantern coming in from Dreamstone. Hits the hook onto the Ashe at max range. Dreamstone takes the hook. Kaden takes the lantern, just trying to follow up. Slow's coming in. Flash out by the side of Ashe. Flash followed on the side of Kaden, and will get the kill. Great stuff by the set of ODU's bot lane, and Kaden is going to have a lot of gold here, probably going for this Essence Reaver, which will be so annoying for the side of GW to follow up with, because that early game Sheen procs, although it is a scaling damage, it will be really hard for GW to deal with. Voidling's a level down, looking for a small trade, cannot really find it due to that just level disadvantage. Level stats is worth about 350 gold, so it's hard to really fight someone who's 350 gold ahead of you.
Yeah.
Speaking about gold, Caden's Chaos is already 1,000 gold ahead of his counterpart. He is the gold difference. He is the whole gold difference, basically. And it's really good to see that Caden's Chaos is stepping up in another game, especially when Murder is down 13 farm. I was really expecting a lot more out of Murder this game. Magnus, Murder, what you doing, bud? You're playing Katarina. You're playing one of your assassins. He's probably complaining about his ping. But, if we go back to items, yeah, he's going very mixed build, we see. He's got a, one of my favorite items, a Basting Wand. No, a Blasting Wand. So a little bit confused about what he's actually building now.
Yeah, it might be
Proto Belt into Blade of the Rune King?
possibly, yeah.
That is most likely, or he may just have a longsword because it's funny. Zinzao is ganking mid here. Orianna is 6. This will most likely just be a kill on Katarina, or else they get the kill. Does not shumpo the Orianna ultimate, and that is what happens. Dominic down here ganking bot lane. Amazing job by the ODU bot lane. Will force out the heal. Good job by Oliver Chris to actually force that out. And Caden's Chaos has not backed yet, and is 3-0 on this Lucian. Up 27 farm. Can we check the gold on the Lucian?
I think the Gragas got that kill, but still gets the assist gold.
Yeah,
so very rich.
2,300 gold on the Lucian. Let's see what he buys now.
He can just full purchase his essence if he wants.
Flash for flash in the mid lane. Dominic will most likely just die here. Only has the Hextech Alternator. Not much to help him get out. Will buy enough time for Murder to get back, and at a sliver of HP, Dominic will get out. Lucian is going for the Gale Force, it seems.
Yes, he's going for his Mythic first, which is also fine.
Yeah, it's a lot more standard. I was expecting an ego player like Kaden to go Essence Reaver.
Well, actually, it's not 100% that he's going Gale yet, because the build path is the same for Kraken as well. And normally we'd see Gale on the Caitlyn, and we saw him go Kraken last game, even though I really don't think he needed the extra damage.
I really don't think we'll see a Kraken Lucian.
It's
that would be Sorry, that would be insane.
It would be insane. But I was very surprised.
Good
to
play
see
outside from the side of Dreamstand. Flash
yeah, Ashe
in.
is dead. No flash.
Yeah, no flash. Actually, no flash is used on the side of ODU. Oh, that was just a Katarina dash. And good jump out from the side of Vicious Teddy Bear. Murder picking up a kill. And the Hextech Dragon coming out for the side of ODU. Speaking about Hextech Dragon, his buddy is gone. Chemtech Dragon is gone. Rest in peace. They removed that map. Amazing flash hook from Dreamstand. Good Lantern and the Flay. Murder will get the kill. Dominic tries to steal it, but alas, he does not get it. And Murder is now popping off, getting these roam kills. Dreamstand is really hand-feeding him, though.
Oh, yeah.
Still down a bunch of farm because he's missing his last hits. Very normal.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about Kaden with the stellar performance in that first game, but I really think the Dream was the MVP, setting up a lot of those really good plays in that bot lane, getting him so far ahead. And we can see doing it again in this game. Just finding these hooks, these flays, setting... Oh, even predicts the flash over the wall with the Lantern. Murder's going to get a third kill off of another beautiful hook. Wow.
Absolutely devastating on this Thresh this game. That is such a great hook out by the side of him. Wow.
And I should have known that when I was, saying how I didn't like this lane, I wish they had picked an enchanter instead of Thresh, and he was going to prove me wrong and just go absolutely mental on the Thresh.
And we do see a normal Ashe build, too. This is going to be an on-hit Ashe. So it's going to be a lot weaker in the lane then. And we do see already the first back by mobility boots for Dreamstand. So he's going to go roam. Maybe he can go up to this mid lane again and get another kill for Murder. who has the sorcery boots, and it's probably looking at a proto belt. Oriana is very far up in this lane. Oriana's going to face check Dreamstand. Dreamstand could maybe look for a solo kill here, but we'll give it away to the Katarina. Yeah, Katarina picks up the dagger for the dash reset, picks up another dagger going the wrong direction, but will still get the reset. Ash Arrow coming on the side of Caden's Chaos. Caden's Chaos trying to fight 1v2. Gets exhausted and is forced to flash out. Flash followed by the side of the Ash and will die. Illusion Dash is not able to get him out of the out in time, and the Zinzao was also there if needed. Fight coming out in top lane. Gnar just jumps away, gets Mega. Gnar does have the chance to kill here, but just behind an items. Has not backed soon enough. Murder getting a good ignite down. This is definitely a good fight for the side of ODU. Shumpo coming in for the side of Murder. Gets the Death Lotus and gets the kill on the Zinzao. Refresh cooldowns. Maybe looking at the Lulu chase down. Dominic and Murder looking for the Lulu cut off. Dreamstand is lagging behind.
This Lulu's only level 4.
Gragas does have ultimate and whiffs it. Will hit the Ash. The Ash may die instead. It looked like that Gragas ultimate was going towards the Lulu, and Murder will die to the Lulu. Definitely worth it. Doesn't matter that Lulu got 450 gold.
I was going to say, crucially there, the Lulu was able to auto-attack the Katarina, so the gold went to her instead of the Ash, which is really good for the side of ODU. 100% worth.
Yeah, absolutely.
That shutdown went to the Lulu and not the Ash. And I was actually just going to comment quickly on the Ash Arrow we saw on the Lucian. A little surprised he didn't take Cleanse in this lane. I always go to, when I'm against an Ash lane, just take Cleanse. I think it's, in general, I think it's a more useful summoner than heal anyways, and especially in an Ash lane, I think it's just more value. I mean, I would imagine there's an exhaust or an ignite, on the Lulu. Also cleanses the exhaust and an all-in. I mean, I just think it's just better.
Yeah, most likely, most of the time nowadays, we do see exhaust on the ADC. When it comes to high elo play, we see that very common now. Murder looking for a trade out in middle and has the Death Lotus. We'll get it. Shockwave coming in for the side of GW's middle laner, and Murder will not press any of his buttons. Brain lag is a huge difference maker in this lane, and it's really unfortunate that it just hit Murder at that time. Just didn't know what happened, just froze up, and dies solo.
I think his Q was up too. He just didn't press it.
I thought his Q was up. I thought actually he had buttons to press, but it looks like he just stalled out, walked back towards the turret, and took another hit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like much else is really happening. This game does have the Nash's tooth already. Nard jumping in for the side of GW. I've lost game sound. Don't know quite how.
What? The game's still going on.
The game is still going on.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not top is definitely not a lane that I am as comfortable with. I know you're a bit more of a top aficionado, but I'm surprised we were even panned up here with the direct camera because, like you were saying, this is a pretty boring lane. Very scale heavy. Interesting, a fillet the opposite direction, but still gonna land the hook anyways. Wow, Dream is just not missing these hooks. Oh, possibly seeing it all in. A flash from the Gnar, but he's still slowed, and I think they should be able to catch him. Wow,
flash by the side of Dominic.
Wow, that was a max range. I think he body slammed flash, right?
Yeah, you extend the
but
the
he
range
waited
of
till like the
slam.
max range before doing it. Wow, that was crazy distance covered.
While you're in that animation, anything you hit gets stunned.
Yeah, you can extend. I knew that. I was very surprised by the range of how far he was able to extend it.
Yes,
there.
it is funny. Gragas does turn himself into a stun box.
Yeah.
If you walked into him from behind, you will get stunned.
Another fillet and hook found by Dream.
No lantern taken though.
Strange box there. I feel like maybe he wanted to take the hook in and then drop the box, but maybe just misordering his abilities and then realizing, okay, maybe no possibility to catch his Zinzao.
Yeah, maybe a bit of frustration for the side of Dreamstand. We'll miss that hook, that blind hook over the wall. But it does not really matter. ODU is so far ahead this game. They will have to make a lot of negative plays to really fall.
Dominic, a little caught out here. I think he's already body slammed in. He is going to ult to get the Zinzao away, and the shockwave whiffs. Very lucky on the side of Dominic. He was engaging on the Oriana, expecting Dominic to be there, and another prediction hook. The Lulu ult and the Ash ult are going to come out, and the exhaust is going to go on the Lucian, but I think it's too late. Dream's even going to flash in to
stop watch
secure.
By the side of Dreamstand. He should walk to max turret range and try to hit the Lulu to take aggro. But the Lulu is running down. We'll get hit by the hook, and Caden's Chaos healed too late. It did not come through. Murder looking for another kill potentially in this middle lane, but
and also dashing backwards on his combo, which then allowed the Lulu to flash out of range.
Yeah.
So a bit of a blunder there from Cadence, but nonetheless, bot lane's still extremely far ahead. 70 CS up, by the way.
Wow.
In this bot lane. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this Lucian was at 2 items before Ashe is at 1, to be honest. It looks like Ashe is going to go shield bow this game, which is pretty standard. And looks like, again, we've got a bit of an all-in on the top lane, but Gnar is mega, so I don't think we're going to see much. Oh, and actually the ult's coming out of Gnar. Andy's jumping away. Maybe getting caught off guard a little bit by this Yorick damage. I was a little bit surprised to see this Yorick. Like I said, not an expert on top lane, but obviously with Gnar's ability to be able to jump outside of his cage, I was a little bit...
Yeah, you do have that cage if Gnar doesn't have jump, and before then you have the E from Yorick, which slows
right,
and also
try and
speeds
bait
up
it out.
Yorick. So it's a slow and it's a movement speed buff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you usually E the Gnar and run up, and when Gnar jumps, then you usually
cage.
box him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how the
It's a
combo
bit
works.
of... Oh?
Also, Yorick does scale amazingly well, and
Yeah.
Gnar is not the best scaler in the world.
More
He
of a
does-
team fighter.
Yes, he scales well into the team fight, but not in the side
Oh,
lane.
and he... Oh, just popping the cage a little early there. He
Yeah.
did land the slow if he had just held onto it a little longer, although the Mega Gnar is about to come up. But I still don't think...
The Mega Gnar is an advantage for Yorick. Yorick does want to fight against Mega Gnar, not Mini Gnar.
Because he takes more
He
max
cannot
HP
kite.
damage? Oh, because... Oh, I see.
Yes, it's a lot of champions prefer to fight Gnar in the Mega and not the Mini.
Right.
Because although it is significantly more damage, Gnar cannot run away. So Darius and Yorick both like to fight Gnar when he is Mega. Insta-force flash out by the side of the Ashe. The Ashe arrow will come in. Cadence, Chaos, and Dreamstand just really need to get away. Xin Zhao's here on one side and Oriel's on another. Dreamstand, amazing flay back, will flay the Xin Zhao out of shockwave range. Xin Zhao's going to look for another WE, but
just
Cadence, Chaos
barely
will
misses.
barely sidestep that. Not a lot of HP left. Voidwings is TPing in. Not sure what's happening right now. But there's now a Yorick there. Also, Orianna has crowned the Shattered Queen.
I think Dream... Oh, and another hook Dream finds, but he's not going to take it. Pretty smart. Don't want to fight between the towers here. I think Dream really wanted to take that hook that he hit on the Xin Zhao, but he was worried that if he dragged Xin Zhao too close to his AD carry, he was going to get E'd on and killed. So I think it was actually kind of smart for him to not take his hook there.
I think I know what the Katarina's building.
Oh my goodness.
I think she's going Demonic Embrace right now.
Demonic Embrace, Katarina. That's
That's-
not something that I...
If she
can say
goes
I've seen a
Night
ton of.
Harvester, then I'm going to have a long discussion to murder about it. Because already Dominic has built Night Blunderer, as some would say.
He has a Ruby Crystal, which would lead you to think... Although, actually,
That
so
builds
many
into
AT
Hextech. It
items.
could be-
Yeah, there's so many
could be
items that
proto,
build
though.
with a Ruby Crystal
I
now.
was hoping that the Ruby Crystal Longsword would suggest Divine Sunder, because I am a shill for Divine Sunder. That item is so good.
So many
so
different
cool.
items you can build on Katarina.
So many items, especially when you have the Longsword. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Well, so a lot of Katarinas build Longsword or even sometimes Doran's Blade in that early lane because the AD is better for like her early trading potential. But yeah, you would imagine that she would want to turn it into something. Another
Good
E
flash by the side of
body slam
Dominic. Will
flash.
have the explosive cask if needed, but will just ult the enemy Orianna to safety. This Crown of the Shattered Queen, yeah. This Orianna will die. Has no more Crown of the Shattered Queen. Murder's
in there.
Very deep. Will die to the turret, but Lulu gets the second of 4 kills on him. Murder with most of his team's deaths, as expected. Max range hook, but hit by Dreamstand. Heal coming out from Cadence Chaos. Couple of auto attack cancels will not find the kill. Dominic is looking for the Predator in, but will not find it. Does not have the Proto Belt because he decided to go Night Harvester. Don't know why, but he's got it. It gives him less damage. He gets to move faster. I don't know what else he goes Night Harvester for. I'm gonna be honest. Night Harvester, please don't build that item. It's just really bad. The ability just gives you 15% movement speed. The only champion who builds it is Shyvana,
Which
which
do you
is
think
already
about,
another problem.
What do you think about a hybrid build on Gragas in the jungle? Like, what if you went Chem Tank, but then instead of going into like a tier item, you went into an AP item to give him a little bit more clearing power?
What you do see in the top lane is you'll see Everfrost Fimbulwinter as a hybrid Gragas build, and then you can see a Cosmic Drive and then like a Thornmail or Demonic Embrace, and you see a very AP tank Bruiser, where Gragas has high base damages for a tank, but has no percent damages, so he's not a true tank, because true tanks have percent max HP damage outside of Malphite. So he builds this like bruiser AP build, which is very strong with this Everfrost because it's a scaling, very good scaling mythic. But in the jungle, you usually don't see it because jungle is so hard to build items. Another amazing
hook
hook
from
from
Dream.
Amazing. I didn't know he was this good at League of Legends.
Wasn't quite blind. He did have vision from his teammates, but still a
Prediction.
beautiful hook. Yeah, still a beautiful hook nonetheless.
Yeah, I didn't know that he played League of Legends, honestly. I mean, well, it is a stand, so
Yeah.
yeah. This ODU is looking so dominant now. If Dominic builds a Monorelicon, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Wow, Dominic is losing to Boris the shopkeeper.
Oh, no.
he needs to kill the Herald in time. He needs to kill the Herald. He's got 3 seconds to kill the Rift Herald, or else Baron will spawn.
Oh,
he does not
he doesn't
kill
get
it!
and he uses a smite as well.
Oh my god, that is
Actually, that
so
could be
unfortunate.
Well, no, he should be fine because he has another charge of smite, I believe,
Yeah, it's
coming up. But
It's about 75%
Dragon
away.
is spawning. Third Drake. And
Gnar
Meganar is
working-
up. They're looking for an engage, but I think this Gnar.
Good
Oh, that is
disruption
a
by the
big
side
Gnar.
of Dominic. Only ults the Gragas back in, but will
Just
just
Ash
die.
does no damage though.
Yeah,
man.
Ash
this
has-
is just so sad.
Ash only has Shield Bow and Berserker Greaves. There's no damage on the side of GW because they have an Orianna who's going Archangel
They're gonna
Stab.
start Baron.
Yeah, this is a correct call. But
Zin is sneaking the dragon though right now.
It's whatever.
But,
It's
yeah,
it's
it
a
doesn't
20-minute
really matter.
Baron. It doesn't matter.
I don't actually think they can do it.
They should be able to if the side of ODU. If Voidwings
It's
is
a
tanking.
20. Yeah, but it's 20 minutes. Okay, no, they're fine. They're
Yeah.
fine. I didn't see the Voidlings was there.
Yeah, Voidwing still is Maiden too.
Yeah.
Yeah, ODU can definitely end this game very quickly. Objective Bounty is picked up for the side of GW, but
Yeah.
this
Just-
game is so far in the favor of ODU.
Yeah, just going back to that last team fight, you saw that Gnar was like, "All right, guys, I'm about to hit Mega Gnar. Like, we gotta go in. This is our window. This is our window." And he did everything he could to try and knock the Gragas towards the rest of his team, but just no damage on the rest of his team. Yeah, I can see you already frustrated with Dominic losing to the shopkeeper hard, building Night Harvester into
At least saving grace.
Morellonomicon.
Murder has a rocket belt. He's not going Night
He
Harvester
does.
Katarina.
So
Yeah, Dominic is going Lichbane now, so he's trying to go full assassin with the Night Harvester and the Lichbane combo. Lichbane is very buffed. Dreamstand hitting another hook, short range lantern,
that
but will
Lulu
get the
is
kill on the Lulu.
not long for this
Lucian
world.
out coming out by Cadence Chaos, just angled oddly. And this Orianna, it's really tragic to see. This Orianna got some resources early. She's not that far behind, but her build is so bad.
Yeah, crown into a
Into Archangel Staff, she's
Yeah.
going to be 2 items and 140 AP.
yeah, she has
Not
no
a lot.
damage. And her Ashe is already struggling in the damage department, so this whole team really
Yeah.
just the comp has no damage, at all.
Which is something we talked about in draft.
Yeah,
where
it
they-
is.
It's a very low damage composition. ODU going in, diving these Nexus turrets. Dominic really needs to survive here, but
The
Cadence
Ashe just
Chaos
gets
has so much
blown
damage.
up.
We'll get Gnarl to end. Good flash out, but the Gnar Q, the building, the clock tower will get the kill. Murder dashes out, Shempo's out. This Gnar could potentially get killed. He cancels 4 autos on the York W, but no capitalization by the side of ODU. Murder looking to go back in, has so much damage right now. Just as Xin Zhao left alive, the Orianna is now respawned with her Crown of the Shattered Queen and unstacked tier. Sorry, no, that is a stacked tier. My apologies. But she still got Crown of the Shattered Queen and no other AP. ODU could possibly just end the game here. They have no Lucian, but they are sieging with Baron minions, so they will probably take this turret or try to and just leave. Or they may just leave now, get a reset in before pushing another lane.
I personally would like to see a reset from them just to play it on the safe side, but honestly, with how far they are ahead, they really could just end right
Yeah,
now if they wanted.
The thing is that they've no objectives to reset for.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tough to say this is a good reset because they do give GW about a
little
minute more
time to stabilize.
to farm. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had the Baron recall, and I mean, you can
Now, if-
refill your health, get items.
If that's Dominic dead and Caden alive, then ODU ends.
Yeah, oh, 100%.
It's just the fact that the Lucian was the one who died.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was actually just a bit of over-aggression from Cadence there. He was
Yeah,
he was literally
absolutely.
diving people under the tower as Lucian. Just took what ended up killing him in the end was the Gnar boulder, but he took like 3 turret shots, I think, 2 or 3
Yeah.
turret shots. So
Caden with this game going LDR third, not I mean, it's pretty standard, but Infinity Edge is just better here. Not a lot of
Yeah.
armor built on the side of GW. Would have preferred to see Infinity Edge and then Lord Dominic's Regard this game. But it's not bad. It still gives 35% armor penetration, which Lucian does love. Just the Giant Slayer passive, which is not always the reason you buy the item. Honestly, the 35% armor pen is really underrated. People need to talk about it more.
Yeah. Because every champ, regardless of whether they build armor, has base armor, which is why, like, mathematically, LDR is just better than Collector.
Yeah,
Because of that armor pen.
The threshold, I think, is like 48.
Yeah,
It's
which is very, very low,
very
like
low.
base armor.
As long as you get, if your base armor for a bruiser, or if you buy Zonias or plates,
Yeah.
Plated steel caps on most carries, you'll hit that or be very close to it.
Yeah, because keep in mind, earliest you're building this item second. So at that point in
Yes.
the game, like, it's already just better.
Yeah.
Maybe if you were talking about, like, building it first versus Collector, maybe Collector would be better as a
Asher
first item.
does
but-
hit the Yorick, but Yorick has so much tenacity with that.
Yeah, and Ash just does no
Unflinching
damage here.
legend
They literally
yeah.
can't walk outside of their fountain. ODU is just going to hit the
Shirelia's
Nexus.
in big stun by the sound of Dominic. Will potentially die.
Oh, big shockwave, actually.
ODU is so separated, but Kaden is now free hitting on this Gnar, but
A two-man
the
stun from the
Katarina
Gnar.
dies, and so will the Thresh, but the Gnar will die. Kaden
Kaden's
actually
gonna go
does
down.
die. It is just Voidlings up. Voidlings can actually turn around and kill this. Don't know why he's walking away. He's got Hullbreaker and Thornmail. He just
he
can
can
walk
get-
at them.
He can get kited, though, a little bit.
He's got so many
Lots of
minions on his
slows.
side, though.
That's true, he does. Oh, yeah, wow. There's
If
oh, my
Voidlings
goodness.
walks up and hits the Nexus,
Yeah, he can
will just end the
end.
game.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's what he's going to do. He does get polymorphed. He seems to be a
Just
little bit
walked up
concerned
and
here.
Q.
Oh, but he lands. I think that was a two-man.
The two-man E.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he
it just ends the game.
Just
Yeah,
ends the game
he's
right
got
there.
Hullbreaker. He's
So much
got
pressure.
extra 40, 50 MR and armor.
Yeah, look
there.
at those super minions, man, with that whole.
Yeah,
Oh my
and gains. Minions take. I think, they do 200% more damage
Yeah.
to structures.
And they
take,
have increased
20%.
armor, I think, right? They take less damage as well.
I think it's 20%.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
another very dominant game from
Yeah,
ODU.
so dominant. Really excited to see Kaden play more. Dreamstand absolutely monstrous on this Thresh. Although this GW team is a bit weaker than what we expected. It is a week one opponent, and I think this is Swiss format, so we play against the best possible team next week.
Oh, that should be an
I
interesting
think
match.
So that was the last NACE format. They may have changed it, but hopefully we have a more challenging opponent. But good games to GW. I don't know their socials, so I would love to plug them, but I don't know it. If you come back on Saturday, we will be streaming at 3 p.m. EST. Our pre-show about 2:45. We will be showing ODU versus GW, but our varsity team versus their varsity team.
Yeah, both teams playing today were, I think one was, our team was JV, and then
JV.
the GW team was the third team,
That was their
right?
third string team.
Their C
today.
team,
Yeah, their
so-
C team.
Yeah.
So we will play against GW A team in Collegiate League on Saturday, and we will have our varsity team on Saturday. So ODU looking really good for JV. A little bit of a roll. Caden looking like the consistent carry. Magnus or Murder is
He had some spotlight moments, I feel like. He definitely a bit
He's there.
aggressive.
in the mid lane.
Hey, you got to give him credit for picking up the Oriana. You can tell when his team
that
told him
was a
to lock it
sacrifice
in, he
pick.
groaned. He was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, I'm on Oriana duty," but he still picked it up. We didn't even see him go for any crazy like
No,
solo
not at
kills
all.
with the Oriana at all.
He-
Like played very standard.
He let
passive.
himself get dope so his team could get objectives.
What a
he
team
was playing for
player.
his team. And then on the Katarina game, he had his 5 CS per minute Katarina game. Amazing to see. We really love to see a player of that caliber looking to hit diamond this season. A lot of these players' personal goals, we weren't able to get to it, is to really hit diamond. And that's such a big step towards hitting diamond. It's going up from 4 CS per minute to 5 CS per minute. Only needs about 4 or more CS per minute to hit 9 CS per minute. And then he can really get a chance to hit diamond. But some other problems with Murder there, with using cooldowns.
Hey.
Definitely looking to improve for next time. I
Five-
have a lot of fun here.
5 CS is just 1 below 6 CS per minute, and 6 CS is just 1 below 7 CS.
Eventually,
Get there eventually.
I mean, if you get to 7.5, you're looking good.
You're-
7.5 is a very safe number for CS per
Oh, yeah.
minute. So
You're
be
already
happy
way
with that.
better than the majority of.
I mean, at least Murder was not Dominic.
Yeah, and
Dominic had some really good gank timings. He had some really good
He
gank
did.
timings. He did lose to Shopkeeper both games, but
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry that Gragas spilled was terrible. Dom, come message me on Discord. I'll give you some coaching. Amazing gank timings though. Really good angles, good pathing. Punished the GW jungles. Punished when GW ganked very well. So he had a lot of these counter ganks, a lot of these invades, which benefited him, and he played for himself for a certain amount of the game. And then he started using these flash E plays on the Gragas,
Yeah.
which is really selfless. And it's really amazing to see that he's forsaking his own lead. And this shows the preparation which ODU has. A team which not Scrim would not do that. And they have been practicing, and this practice shows. And
Yeah.
Voidling's just really consistent at the top lane.
Well, and we saw in the first game as well, on multiple occasions where they were feeding these kills over to the Caitlyn to get her even more fed. Even when she was already at that point like 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, they were still giving her these kills, when they were finding them in side lanes and things like that, picks in these side lanes. And I mean, that just goes to show, the teamwork there. A lot of players would be like, "No, it's my kill. Just take it." They're like, "Oh, come on." Come on, I'm 0 and 13. I've gotten so many assists. Just let me get this one kill. Nope, straight to the Caitlyn.
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, Caden did his job.
We usually have an interview when we win here. We have no players in our arena today due to some connection issues on campus. So, who would you give MVP to for the series?
Okay. I honestly think, hands down, it goes to Dream. I think both games, he was lights out on Nautilus and on Thresh. I mean, his Thresh, in my opinion, looked even cleaner than his Nautilus. But, I mean, his Nautilus, the play that sticks out to me was that early level 2 against level 1. The hook was nice, don't get me wrong. I think that was a bit of a blunder from the Lulu, just like walking up for no reason. But then the awareness to flash back in to get the auto root on the Ashe when she overstayed, to get the trap combo and just get that very clean double kill in the bot lane. And he made it out. I don't even think he died on that play.
He made it out, yeah.
And oh my goodness. I mean, that was just like really good heads up play. And just small, getting Caitlyn those 2 kills, getting her ahead like that is all you need to snowball the lane. I mean, we saw they turned those 2 kills into countless more in that first game. And I mean, he did it again on the Thresh almost flawlessly. And like we were mentioning in the pregame about how, because he likes to play jungle as well, we were hoping we'd see him active in these other lanes as well. He proved us to be right. I mean, we saw him in mid lane a ton, looking for plays. He was very aggressive in the enemy jungle, pushing that line of vision up and then just waiting for them to walk in for these dragon fights. For these, not really too much about Baron. These games were over, fairly quick, so not a lot of Baron dances. But around these dragons, I mean, we saw him find countless, hooks and flays in the enemy jungle. I mean, playing very aggressive, finding a lot of the opening picks for his team to be able to convert into these kills and convert the kills into objectives. I mean, I think he'd have to be MVP for me. What about you?
I have to agree. Usually I look for someone else to talk about, but he was absolutely the most consistent player. He really helped Caden get a lot of these kills. Dominic lost to Shopkeeper. Voidlings farmed out most of the game, and Murder lost to himself. So Dreamstand, by default, has to be it. Caden played well, but on the Lucian, his mechanics were a bit shaky at times.
A little bit
on the Lucian. Some of his dash positioning and his W's and Q's were a little bit off. But Dreamstand, that Nautilus dive, that level 6 Nautilus dive in game 1 with the stopwatch, amazing. I would not have thought about that. That was really good. Just being like, hey, I have like 20% HP, but I still have stopwatch, and I'm gonna use this free
beautiful stopwatch usage both games.
And I do get amazing stopwatch in game 2.
I do want to give a bit of a shout out to Voidlings, because I know obviously not even, we weren't even considering him as an MVP candidate, but he did, similar to Murder in game 1, I felt like he was a really good team player. He played that Malphite, I would imagine no hesitation. As soon as they saw the Jace locked in on the side of George Washington, he was like, pick me Malphite. Like, I'm fine playing this, playing this matchup. It's a good matchup for Malphite, but I mean, early on, obviously, if the Jace utilizes his range, in top lane against Malphite, you can definitely be a bit of a bully. You're going to have to drop some CS as Malphite, most likely. But, well, one, Jace didn't capitalize on that very well. But also, I mean, he found some really good engages on that Malphite. I mean, we saw multiple times where they were able to combo a Nautilus hook or something into a Malphite ult, into an Orianna Shockwave on top, and just absolutely wipe their entire team. I think we saw it at least 2 or 3 times. And then in game 2, he was able to close it out with that Hullbreaker Yorick. I mean, we didn't see a ton of action from him, but I think he was definitely a staple and did a good job playing that frontline role, which, you know, allows carries like Caden, like Murder to be able to just go crazy, aggressive, and pop off on these carries.
Yeah, well, when we do see someone playing these champions like the Yorick and Malphite, they don't. It's not good if we see them on the scoreboard early.
Yeah.
Because it mostly means they're giving up their lane or they're dying. You don't want to see action with these champions. They want to farm. I'm a big Malphite enjoyer. And when I go and first pick that champion or whatever, that champion was amazing. He's not as good now. But the champion, I would always early pick him because some of his matchups were actually really good. And the Jace one at high elo, it's really hard to play. And Jace one tricks do like that matchup. But Malphite just can absolutely steamroll that lane. So I'm really good that Voidwings, he did get that solo kill in game 1. So really happy about that. And I think, do you have any closing statements?
No, not really. Really solid game out of the side of our JV team. And again, just wanted to give everyone a reminder that we will have the varsity team on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Definitely don't want to miss that.
Yep.
And we'll be facing off against the varsity George Washington team. So a bit of a rematch, but with 2 completely different teams. And it's definitely going to be a banger. Make sure you don't miss that.
Yeah, we will try to start the stream a bit early. We will have a special segment for this week. We're going to try to do it Saturdays. Not sure about Tuesdays, but Saturdays. We'll try to have it. And I think we have some other streams this week. Make sure you follow our Twitch, turn on notifications. Thank you for so many people who have watched today. 50 viewers. Our second stream as a partner on Twitch. We get pushed to front page. So I know we have a lot of new people who may not even be supporting ODU. They may just be stopping by. So welcome. Enjoy your time here. Please follow. We have amazing collegiate esports. Our Rainbow Six team in Call of Duty are so good. Our League of Legends and Rocket League are towards the top of the table. If you want to see a little bit of funniness, go watch our CSGO.
Hey, that hurts, man. I believe actually our Counter-Strike team is the next game on Friday. I want to say 7 p.m. EST is the game. Oh, and we have another one tomorrow, another stream tomorrow, most likely in the evening.
Yeah. We have Overwatch.
Oh, okay.
I may be back here. I have no idea.
We'll have to see.
Yeah,
I might be back here too.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed tonight's cast, please tune in tomorrow for Overwatch.
Make sure to follow our Twitter too, ODU_esports, and
keep you updated.
Yeah, I'm Robbie Bobby Basting,
and I'm Jeremy Purely Ivor,
and have a good night.